What's going on, everybody? We're back at it again with some more of a whole bunch, a lot of shit. Hold on, let me get back to my goddamn first. Ooh. Yeah, we got some PlayStation fanboys complaining about Indiana Jones. We got Reforge commenting on Phil Spencer's post from earlier that I read today. Yeah, that was a couple hours ago. Um, that should be fun. We got some more Outer Worlds 2 shit. And we got some old internet drama that's resurfacing, so that's interesting. And two more of Mr. Leon. So once again, my shit don't work. There we go. All right, let's see what this guy. This guy. Oh, I remember this guy. I remember. I was disappointed. So let's see what you have to say about Indiana Jones.
Now we're in the bargaining stage of somebody else. As you can see here, April 17th, 2025, stated here, Ludwig, I can't wait to play PlayStation games on my Xbox Series X. Please make it happen. So again, they think this is a give and take method. They think they're going to get the superior, and I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan of Uncharted, so maybe a little bit of biasness there. Huge fan, not just saying it because it's PlayStation. If this was on Xbox, still would be a huge fan if this was an Xbox first-party game. Uncharted is mounds better, hills better, miles better, whatever. It's substantially better. This isn't a trade-off. This is not a trade-off that you get a superior, amazing class.
Can you tell me why it's better? Because, like, I get shit is subjective, but if you're gonna say something like that, like this, tell me why. You said you have bias towards Uncharted. I understand that, but why? Because Uncharted and Indiana Jones are two completely separate types of games. Indiana Jones is far more a puzzle game than an action game. Uncharted is far more an action cinematic adventure than a fucking puzzle game. There are puzzles and action in both, but you see what I'm saying, right? So you're almost comparing apples to oranges here. Almost. It's like apples. It's like Granny Smith and the green ones.
Classic that Uncharted is for Indiana Jones in first person.
Also, I feel like I should mention that Uncharted was heavily inspired by Indiana Jones movies. So, like, I don't know why you're really trying to separate the two like they're not conjoined at the fucking hip.
That's no thank you. No thank you. You could keep Indiana Jones over there if that was the case. Please. We'll keep Uncharted over here in the PlayStation ecosystem. This is one of the main reasons why I stuck with PlayStation.
Why can't we have both on both?
In the last couple of gens is because of Naughty Dog in general, but especially I'm such a huge fan of Uncharted that, wow, that'd bring me to any ecosystem right there. But again, keep your Indiana Jones if that's what you think in your theory there. But no, this isn't a tit for tat. This isn't a trade-off. You're not getting anything special in first party. Uncharted, God of War, Last of Us, Horizon. You're not getting any of that. Astrobot, it's not happening. That's not happening. This is not a bargaining situation, but I do love to see the copium here.
I don't think it's ever meant to be a bargaining situation, but at the same time, you're making your argument is not even an argument. You're trying to make one, but it's like I want to say like trying to smack somebody with like a wet paper towel. Like it's annoying, but it's not gonna hurt anybody. I mean, like what I said was effortless to think about. I didn't even have to think about that. I don't really care about that.
Now we're in the bargaining stage of somebody else.
Not Reforge, but this particular thing. I usually watch Reforge through Astro and his streams that he ships and clips on Twitter. But I never really watched a Reforge video as like a video that's not like a fucking stream. So I'm curious to see how this goes. Right? Subtitles? Oh, thank God.
Game Pass, once the centerpiece of all Xbox marketing, is now being described by Phil Spencer as not for everybody, which to many gamers might not be that surprising.
Okay, I probably should have read that fucking. Hold on, let me read the thing because I think already you're fucking wrong. You're already mischaracterizing. Oh, did I just exit out of? Fucking retarded. Cause he didn't say it wasn't Xbox. It was the fucking service, the Game Pass service itself, not Xbox itself. You fucking banana. I know I reposted that shit. Hold on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There it is. Phil Spencer says Xbox is not for everybody. I look at Game Pass as a healthy option for certain people. If you play 1 or 2 games a year, it probably isn't the right business model for you. You should just buy those 2 games. I completely agree with that. If you're only buying 2 games a year, you shouldn't be spending, was it 20 some odd a month on Game Pass? No. Just buy those. At the end of the day, it's probably roughly just buy those 2 games. That makes complete sense. And were you already saying this completely backwards? But let's hear it again. Let's just take it from the top, yeah. Take 2.
Game Pass, once the centerpiece of all Xbox marketing, is now being described by Phil Spencer as not for everybody.
Okay, I did mishear that. Okay. I don't know why. Like, that's the beginning of it. Like, I heard Xbox and I didn't hear the Game Pass part. But let's hear it again. Sorry.
Xbox marketing is now being described by Phil Spencer as not for everybody, which to many gamers might not be that surprising. Maybe you've never really used Game Pass and you just buy your games, or maybe you've been on Game Pass for such a long time you just don't even really think about it anymore. Regardless of where you land on the subservice, hearing that it isn't for everybody might not really ruffle your feathers, but it is a huge departure in messaging from Xbox that continues the brand's ongoing evolution, and it even seems to sort of confuse the messaging of everything is an Xbox if the major catalyst of what they offer to get into their ecosystem, which is Game Pass, is not for everybody. So
I can see what he's saying. Cause say it's from a normie's perspective, right? Xbox is saying Game Pass everywhere in the marketing, and then you come across this guy named Phil who says it's not for everybody if you buy 1 or 2 games. Wait, no, because you can still, because Xbox is still everywhere, whether or not you have Game Pass. Game Pass is also everywhere, but like I'm sure if you have an Xbox service on a device, you could also download those games. It's not all streaming, right?
let's look at the full extent of what Phil said, and I think it actually means some things for Xbox strategy as well as the future of Game Pass to consider. Now, before we do that, if at any point during this video you like what you hear, hit like and subscribe so you get more of my content. So, Phil Spencer...
Dog, can you please stop doing this? Everybody, fucking stop. Everyone knows what to do. Even kids know what to do at this point. Shut the fuck up.
Spencer sat down with Variety to do an interview, and when they got to the topic of Game Pass, he had the following to say. For me, I look at Game Pass as a healthy option for certain people. It's not for everybody. If you play 1 or 2 games a year, Game Pass probably isn't the right business model for you. You should just buy those 2 games, and that would make total sense. But I want you to have the choice, so we remain focused on everything that's on Game Pass is also available to buy.
Oh, well, see, there you go. That's what I was talking about. I didn't even need to fucking rewind and fucking go back and read the thing. I should have just watched the fucking video. But yeah, that's what I was saying before. If it's available, if Game Pass can be on there, you can just buy that, download the games, and just like that, find any on the same device. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal. That's crazy.
Making those games available to buy in more places.
Uh-huh.
And I look at the overall hours of people who are playing on Xbox, playing our games, and that's a number that continues to grow fairly substantially, and that's really the metric I think about for success. And Game Pass has been an important part of that. but I don't try to solve for Game Pass specifically on its own. It's kind of part of the equation for Xbox finding new players. Now,
That's great. That's great that they're not putting all their eggs into one basket. Now, with Game Pass, is Game Pass probably the best value? Absolutely, and you should. And pushing that is absolutely a smart thing to do. But also, not having your whole business rely on that. Like, hey, yeah, you have Game Pass here, but also here, buy the games too, and just have it. Yeah, have all of it. Game Pass is just like the big thing we're waving over to get you over, but you also get everything else too. So that sounds like a dub to me. I don't know what to tell you.
before we get to the part that is getting all of the attention, it is important to note that he's doubling down on something that he has said in the past, that games on Game Pass will also be available to buy.
Yeah.
For a while, many thought that Microsoft, as a parent company, they might start pushing Xbox to make games on Game Pass only available in the sub service, that you wouldn't be allowed to purchase them. That's very much a Microsoft format for their software. So it is good to see that's not changing. They're not like leaving that idea behind. But the real lightning rod is the line about Game Pass not being for everyone. And not because he said it, but why he said it. He says if you're only going to be playing...
He said it because it's true. What do you mean, why did he say it? He's being honest. That's someone being transparent about the product they're selling. It's not for everybody. And he mentioned the specific people he's thinking about. What is there to question? Why is this a 5-minute video? This shouldn't have just been a little text post. And it's been ignored, and, we all moved on with our lives.
Not because he said it, but why he said it. He says if you're only going to be playing 1 or 2 games a year, then you'd be better off just buying them. Yeah. And he's actually right. There's nothing about that isn't factual. But here's the problem. Their goal, their strategy, their marketing push to get more gamers, since the console market is stagnant, according to Phil, well, that's to get people to play wherever they are, whether they're on a smart TV, a tablet, a phone. Those are all Xboxes now. But he just told all of those people that Game Pass isn't for them, because none of those people right now are presently buying or playing more than 1 or 2 games a year. Think of it this way. Game Pass is basically for people who are going to buy or play more than 1 or 2 games a year. How exactly does this land on folks who are not currently gaming or currently within their ecosystem? You're telling
you mean the people who buy consoles or have the Game Pass app on their what are you talking about? I'm actually a little bit lost. What do you mean? What do you mean?
We're going to buy or play more than 1 or 2 games a year. How exactly does this land on folks who are not currently gaming or currently within their ecosystem? You're telling most of the market of current gamers, as well as non-gamers, that Game Pass really isn't for them. The average gamer, in most of the reports you look at, they're buying somewhere between 2 and maybe 4 or 5 games a year. It's somewhere in that hemisphere. That means an awful lot of people won't find Game Pass appealing if they're only in...
You said 2, 4, 5. That's more than 2, first of all. Secondly, I am one of those people. I haven't bought a game in a very long time, but I play a lot of games on Game Pass, right? I think that's a huge difference there, right? If you don't buy games, if you only buy 1 or 2 games that you want to play, or you're only looking forward to 1 or 2 games, then you don't need it. But if you already if you already have Game Pass, you don't, like me, I don't buy games. I play everything on Game Pass. Unless I really, really want that game. And that's the one game I will buy. But I play everything else on Game Pass. But if we're talking about people who play less than me, I'm still not sure what you're getting at. It's still a good option to have Game Pass. And you can still buy the games on whatever device you're using. So I still don't know what the fuck you're trying to get at here.
They're buying somewhere between 2 and maybe 4 or 5 games a year. It's somewhere in that hemisphere. That means an awful lot of people won't find Game Pass appealing if they're only in that number of 1 to 2, maybe 3. This is
also, you don't have to buy Game Pass for an entire year. You don't have to keep up with it for the whole year. You can buy the Game Pass for just the month that it comes out and then cancel it at the end. So you could play Expedition 33 for a month and then just cut it off when you probably finish it within a month. and then fucking end Game Pass at the end of that. Like, there's easy ways around this for normies to if they want to play. Dog.
Huge 180 from the Xbox marketing up to this point. Game Pass was always front and center. It was like the central piece of the brand's identity. I've said for a while now that it felt like they were putting Game Pass sort of to the side. They moved day and dates to Ultimate, they increased the price of Ultimate, and just last month they shut down the Game Pass app, and they just announced an update to the Xbox app that they're going to be adding the long-awaited feature for you to be able to buy games through the app. I don't know about you, but this feels like a pretty big shift. Those who love Game Pass and enjoy the crazy amount of value, well, I would keep my eye on Xbox, because they haven't just made huge changes to where day and date is or the price of Ultimate. They are now telling most of the gaming as well as the non-gaming public that Game Pass isn't for them. And if it isn't for them, then Xbox might decide that it's not for them either. But those are just my thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment below. To do an interview, and when they got to the topic of Game Pass, he had the following to say. For me, I look at Game Pass as a healthy option for certain people. It's not for everybody. If you play 1 or 2 games a year, Game Pass probably isn't the right business model for you. You should just buy those 2 games, and that would make total sense.
So he's not saying like not to play games. He's saying this specific service may not be if you just play for 1 or 2 games. How's that going to deter anybody? Anybody with any sense would be like, yeah, probably. All right. Anyone with any sense will probably already be buying those games in the first place. Like.
But I want you to have the choice, so we remain focused on everything that's on Game Pass is also available to buy. Mm-hmm. We're making those games available to buy in more places.
Right.
And I look at the overall hours of people who are playing on Xbox, playing our games, and that's a number that continues to grow fairly substantially, and that's really the metric I think about for success. And Game Pass has been an important part of that, but I don't try to solve for Game Pass specifically on its own. It's kind of part of the equation for Xbox finding new players. Now, before we get to the part that is getting all of the attention, it is important to note that he's doubling down on something that he has said in the past, that games on Game Pass will also be available to buy. For a while, many thought that Microsoft, as a parent company, they might start pushing Xbox to make games on Game Pass only available in the sub-service, that you wouldn't be allowed to purchase them. That's very much a Microsoft format for their software. So it is good to see that's not changing. They're not like leaving that idea behind. But the real lightning rod is the line about Game Pass not being for everyone. And not because he said it, but why he said it. He says if you're only going to be playing 1 or 2 games a year, then you'd be better off just buying them. And he's actually right. There's nothing about that isn't factual. But here's the problem. Their goal, their strategy, their marketing push to get more gamers, since the console market is stagnant according to Phil, well, that's to get people to play wherever they are. Whether they're on a smart TV, a tablet, a phone, those are all Xboxes now. But he just told all of those people that Game Pass isn't for them.
You know what your fucking problem is with this entire thing? Like, I don't know why I was trying to pick apart your fucking argument so much. And I kept blanking because, this is so fucking stupid. And, it's stupid because you're ignoring everything else he said. You're purposefully ignoring the rest of what he said to fearmonger. You even said what he said wasn't a problem. And then you go on to try to make it a problem. You literally presented yourself as you're twisting the wheel to fucking turn the goddamn table around. What are you talking about? You're transparently retarded. And it's kind of annoying. Holy shit, that was annoying. That's why I went back. I'm like, this whole thing doesn't make any sense. Why are you going this far into it? If he already said what he fucking... God, you're going to need a new job soon, bro. Thank God that wasn't anything more than 5 minutes. I might have fucking killed somebody. In Minecraft. I know for me when I got the Xbox, I can't read all that right now. He's talking about the dudes who play COD or 2K every year. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. For those guys who only, well, actually, no. If you play COD, you should probably. No, 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 no. If you only, no, no, yeah, no. Sorry, it is on Game Pass, but you should still just buy it. Right? You're right. You're right. Because those guys, my dad does not need my dad does not need Game Pass. My brothers could use Game Pass because they have kids, but they have PlayStation. So it's like, well, actually, no, I think Shane has an Xbox, but still, they don't like for families and shit for kids and whatnot. Game Pass is amazing. I don't care if you don't buy a game every year or so. If you have kids, Game Pass is listen. So many cute ass games on there. So many games to keep them occupied and shit. Based on YouTubers, I'd say the Game Pass for everyone except elite snobs. Yeah, just look at the April lineup: South of Midnight, Blue. I got play South of Midnight, Expedition 33, Oblivion Remastered. That one. There's been banger mostly monthly basis for a long time now. Doom Dark Ages is next month. The best deal in gaming, especially Nintendo and Sony being greedier and greedier. Absolutely. Even if Game Pass is not for everyone, it is undeniably a fantastic fucking value. That's why I'm about to play South of Midnight on my laptop and not my Xbox, because I can't set that up right now. I can play that shit on the fucking app. Crazy. Can you do it on PlayStation? Can you play PlayStation games on laptop? Like, do you have like an app for that? Fucking remember those iPhone ads. You got an app for that? I have an app for that. Main reason why I have gotten Forza and Indiana Jones, I don't want to create a Microsoft account at all. I despise the Game Pass model. Well, why? What? Why you despise the Game Pass model? What's wrong with the Game Pass model? Explain. There's more bullshit from Phil Spencer because all the Xbox games being released on PS5 require a Microsoft account. What does it do? What does that have to do with not being for what? Because all the games being released on PS5 require a Microsoft account. That has nothing to do with the conversation. Boop. I need you to explain yourself. Who the fuck are you? You have 2 downs in a row, bro. You wanna go for 3? Where you at? I'm gonna look for your name again. Were you 89? I'm gonna look for you again. Alright, I got too bored of that. Yeah, but no, dog, you fucking wildin', bro. You really reach on that one. Boop.